a good point is that the QC control is tight.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the bane of my existence. I can't see the blemish. And they're going, oh yeah, it's there. Well, where is it? So fair enough.
The times, the age, maybe?
Yeah, it could be. I'm getting some new glasses, but my humour is I say, well, even with my glasses, I can't bloody well see it. You know, so.
Folks, we're now in the MX40 room here at the Krix factory, and we've been lucky enough to steal Ashley Krix, one of the co-owners here, away to do a bit of an interview with him. So, hello Ashley, thanks so much for the time.
G'day, as we say down in Australia.
Yeah.
How are you?
Good. Like most family-run companies, I'm sure there isn't much that you don't have a part of, but can you sort of tell our viewers what your main role here is at Krix?
My main role here at Krix is commercial cinema sales. So you're right, I have my finger in many different parts of the business, being a co-owner, so it's very important, and a director, of course. So myself, Scott and Gary play our part, and we all make decisions as a group, which is very important, so we all get on very well. But my main role is commercial cinema sales, although I do some consumer sales in certain parts of the world, so Southeast Asia and India, for example.
And is the commercial side of Krix the larger proportion of the business, or is it an even share between domestic and commercial?
Pretty even, you know, generally. Although during COVID and after COVID, commercial cinema has been struggling a bit, but because cinemas were shut, so builds weren't occurring.
Sure.
Although during COVID, of course, for us as a business, we did very well. With that, our dealers did exceptionally well. But commercial cinema was different. So now it's starting to come back. There are green shoots. Some of the trade shows have been very promising. So that's now back on the rise. But generally speaking, it's around about half.
Sure. I suppose one of the benefits of being in both commercial and domestic is if people aren't going to the cinemas as such, they're wanting the cinema at home, and at least you're there to be able to provide that as well, you know.
Well, that's right. It's a fantastic market, and particularly overseas, of course, in other countries, including Europe, and we have a warehouse there now. The high-end home cinema, or just the home cinema market, has been growing rapidly. But your point on having fingers in both parties, commercial cinema and home cinema, what you want at home is the commercial cinema experience at home. So our experience in commercial cinema bleeds into the home cinema market.
Sure.
Hence the MX series is really commercial cinema, high SPLs that you can have at home. It's shallow, it's easy to install, it's modular, but with no compromise on performance.
I suppose a big question that a lot of consumers would want to know is, can you create a better experience in the home than you can at a commercial cinema?
I would say yes.
Yeah, sure.
Because, I mean, I guess people at home have financial constraints, but
obviously,
but essentially you can do better. You can do acoustic treatments, you can make the chairs like this. I think you can actually probably do slightly better at home.
I think just the seating alone is worth doing it at home personally. It's so much more comfortable.
That's right, your electric recliners and beer coolers. And, you know, how good's that?
Yeah, absolutely.
All that said, of course, is that there's nothing quite like the commercial cinema experience. Big screen, big sound, provided it's a good one, I think. And, you know, there are many around there that are very good.
Absolutely. Well, you know, it's a day out too, so it's a completely different experience, isn't it?
100%. I'm not sure whether it was a light bulb moment or whether it was an evolution, because Scott was always interested in audio. So even when he was at high school, he used to gut the family radios and rip all the speakers out and make the perfect enclosure for the old Bakelite radios, valve
yeah,
radios.
I know the ones, yeah.
There was a compromise there with the speaker in that sort of enclosure. While it worked quite well, he wanted to make it better. He made his own amplifier at home, all that kind of stuff. So I think after he did electronic engineering, got his degree in electronic engineering, his passion for audio never really died. So he then started building loudspeakers for friends, and then it grew from there. I shared a house with him at Hawthorn, so like most businesses, they start in garages. You know,
Yeah.
and
Humble
then they
beginnings,
move,
yeah.
very humble beginnings. You start with one person. Then I joined Scott sort of after a while and got into this audio craziness, you know, as you do in the 70s.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And the passion is still with us, really, and that's why, I mean, our grandfather had a saying that, you know, if you're going to make something, make the best you can. That was his philosophy, and we've sort of carried that through.
So how did the commercial cinema side of the business come about? What, you know, was Scott friends with someone that owned a local cinema and he said he can do better, or was it something more than that?
It's an interesting story, actually, because after Scott started building loudspeakers for friends and then started building a small factory down here at Hackham, he formed a hi-fi shop to sell the product that he was building, which is quite clever, really. So he went into partnership with a friend, and in that shop window, there's the first speaker he made was this big green horn thing, which you may have seen in certain photos and images. And the owner of the Capri Theatre in Adelaide was driving past and noticed them and popped his head in and said he's got a sound system problem. He needs a better sound system. And at the same time, there was an acoustic issue, so Scott developed the infinite baffle wall as well. So that was 1980. That was our beginnings in commercial cinema, which really puts us as one of the older commercial cinema loudspeakers in the world.
So how many Australian cinemas would you say feature Krix? Where can somebody go to a commercial cinema to experience the Krix sound?
Basically, there's a lot of independents. Here in South Australia is Wallace. Some of the Hoyt cinemas, event cinemas. We started with Grady Unions. Bert Carroll Coyle had some of our stuff.
They're pretty big names, yeah.
Yeah, maybe 60 to 70% of cinemas would be Krix, I think, in Australia.
Oh, wow, that big a number.
And of course, we export, so there's all over the world. I think there's at least 4,000 screens now worldwide that are Krix.
That's a lot. What drives you to keep manufacturing local? Obviously overseas they can do manufacturing at much lower cost. The labour costs are low.
Yeah, it can be a challenge, but obviously we've made decisions not to be in a race to the bottom. We believe in Australian manufacturing. We can do it here more efficiently. I think you'll find in lower labour cost countries is that they might have 3 or 4 machines. So they'll have an old CNC machine, they'll have an old multi-head drill press, they'll have a belt sander thing, and you know it's all hands-on because labour's so cheap. So for us, the way we gain efficiency is with smarter programming, the use of 5-axis CNC machines, so that we let the machine do everything within reason as much as it can. So
we saw that
the
today.
drilling, the mitering, you know, so basically it comes off as a complete kit. We're obviously very efficient about the material we use, so we try and nest everything and use the whole sheet efficiently and cost. So every little cutout we'll try and fit a brace in. We'll get that brace out of there rather than cutting a big sheet up into 500 square bits.
Using the whole board. Yeah.
Use the whole board. I mean, some things we manufacture overseas. Injection moulding we don't do here.
Sure.
But all the wood cabinets we do here. And the other advantage, I think, with manufacturing here is we have complete control over it. We can make smaller quantities. I mean, if you're ordering product from overseas, usually you have to order higher quantities. You've got to order 300, 400, 500, you know, there are MOQs. We can make 2 of something, or we can make 500 or something. So, you know, so there are efficiencies and benefits with manufacturing here.
Yeah, sure.
And of course, we're looking after Australian labour. We do things environmentally correctly. There's a bucket load of solar panels here.
Great. Yeah.
We're trying to be more efficient. We recycle everything we can. We recycle all the cardboard, the plastics, the whole lot. So
yeah,
we take care to do this right.
It's great. Yeah, it's great from a circular economy side of things to keep the money within the country and support Australia for sure.
Well, that's right.
Yeah. But on just harking back to one of your comments you just said before, during that factory tour, we were pointed out a defect that, to be honest, I couldn't even see unless I turned my head on the right angle, and that quality control. I don't believe you'd be able to get that in overseas manufacturing because it's just so hard to hit. But on top of that as well, your ability to do custom cabinets to any colour or something like that means it doesn't have to be an MOQ thing.
That's right. We can custom build. We can alter the size slightly if required. Everything we make is tested here. So we've got control over it. But I think also the measure of a good company, I think, is how they react when there's a problem. So we're customer driven. So if the customer has a problem, we'll stand by the product and support them. Whereas some companies, if they're not a very good company, I think will back away from their responsibility. So there is literally a sea of speaker manufacturers out there. What sets Krix speakers apart from everybody else, and who is a Krix customer? I think one key difference that sets us apart from a lot of companies that are of our age is the fact that it's still family owned. So the passion is still here. The founder's still, Scott, is still here with us. Sounds like he's about to die, doesn't it? I think one of the key differences between us and other companies is that we want to make a good product. We're very customer driven, so we like to sleep well at night. If a customer gets upset, it's upsetting for us, you know. So that's not a good feeling.
No,
and we'd prefer that our product is well represented. It's our family name, so that's important to us. In answer to the second part of the question is who's a Krix customer? I think everyone's a Krix customer. I think anyone who appreciates good audio, someone who's not just after just bass or the tizzes and the basses, there's more to it. If you want to hear everything, you like music, you like movies, you appreciate good sound, good quality and longevity and reliability, that's a Krix customer. Another one of our sayings is buy it once. We have customers that come back after 30 years asking if we can fix stuff. And often we can, or we'll certainly try, you know. Yeah,
well, just the other day I actually went to a customer's house who lives, on the water, literally, and to my surprise, there was a set of Krix speakers there, and I felt the drivers, I listened to them, and you're talking about 20 years on the coastline, and they're still working as good as the day they were made. So
that's right.
It was a good testament to the speaker. Before we go and have a look at some of the commercial cinema speakers, what can we look forward to from Krix? What's new in 23, 24?
Well, can't say too much, but obviously we're coming up to our 50th year in 2024.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good stint.
I've got away with it so far. I'm still alive, so good-o. We do have a couple of products in mind to celebrate that anniversary. Great. So, but other than that, I'd rather not say too much. But we're always working on new products. We've got new ideas, and we intend to remain here for a very long time.
Okay, excellent. Well, you don't know this yet, but we were just speaking to the R&D and engineers, and we're convincing them to go down a path of speakers, and it's going to cost you a lot of money, so thanks for that.
Great.
We'll let you all know.
I'll go into the R&D department in a minute then.
Well, I think that just about wraps it up. Ashley, thanks so much for your time. It was a pleasure, and we look forward to working with you even more in the future.
Well, thanks very much for taking the time to visit us.
My pleasure.
It's very good to have you here.
Cheers.
Oh, did I mention that we've been around for 50 years?
50 years.
Good God.